Facebook Ad IQ group. How's it going? Wanted to answer a question of the day from Ryan Borzo today. So it's a pretty good question, especially people getting started with Facebook ads. So basically the question, which is in the comments as always, is about getting started with targeting. So basically I'm a newbie to Facebook advertising. How do I go about getting started? And I think his niche is women's apparel audience. So there's the unique thing about Facebook ads is it's not so different than any other type of advertising you might do or any online business you might start, right? So any other type of paid targeting, paid media you might run, any e-commerce store you build, you're going to do your research out of the gate, right? And so that logic stays true with Facebook ads, right? So the first thing to do is really understand your demo, right? So I have a product in the women's apparel space, and it is targeting people who like Star Wars or whatever the unique catch is, right? Or maybe it's women's apparel for women who are into yoga or whatever it is. Like you need to hone in on what that niche is. The problem I see a lot of people make, and this is a step before doing research, is they try to go too broad out of the gate. And so they have an idea for a product, and they think, I can start a store, I can run Facebook ads, and I can make money. And I've heard so many people contact me about that, like, hey, when you started Startup Drugs, did you just make a lot of money, the first month, or how easy is it to do this? And the reality is that it's really, really difficult because it's so easy. I know that's a conundrum, right? It's easy, but it's difficult. The reason it's so difficult is because everybody can do it, or at least a lot of people with an average intelligence can do it. So anybody can go out there and they can create a Shopify store, they can sign up for Printful, and they can start selling t-shirts and get a Photoshop account, or go on to Canva or Design Pickle or one of these resources out there, Fiverr, and make some t-shirt designs for men who like the Mets and soccer, or whatever crazy combination there are. People from Arkansas who like rugby, or whatever the niche is that you got, and put up a store and start selling stuff. So it used to be easy to make money doing that when nobody knew the tools and how easy it was to do it, to drop ship and to take no risk essentially. Nowadays, everybody's caught on. There's thousands of courses out there on how to do it. So it's a lot more competitive. And so when you start a store or an online business, you really need to know what's my core value prop of my product. And if you can't identify that, you need to go back to the drawing board. If you can identify that, and you can understand why your product needs to be in the market, what is it that there's missing in the market that my product fills? What's the problem that my product comes in and solves? Obviously, if you're selling apparel, it doesn't really solve a product, but why does your core demo need your product? And understand what that core demo is. Get a feel for what's the age of that person, what's the gender, what's the likes, the dislikes, the interests, what other products do they like in this space, what are my competitors in the space, what are my complementary products in the space. You need to do that first. You need to do that research before you start building your store, before you start running ads, before you really think about growing. That's your foundation of your business. It doesn't matter if it's a side project, a full-time job, a Shopify store, a brick and mortar store. That needs to happen. Otherwise, don't do it, right? Don't jump into something if you don't plan to commit. So that's step number one. And if you don't have that, you can stop watching this video, because you don't need to do anything else until you figure that out, right? So once you have that understood, and you know your demo, at least at a high level, moms who have kids who like to shop at Lululemon, or at a high level, you understand the kind of high-end women, or whatever it is, and this is going off of Ryan's example of who that is. Now there's a lot of great tools out there that'll help you refine that interest. So Audience Insights is a great tool on Facebook, which is free, available to everybody, which lets you go in there and start typing an interest. So you plug in, okay, I know at a high level who my customer is, my demo is. It's women between the age of 30 and 50 who make over $100,000, right? Some high level stuff. And now what you're going to learn is what pages they like, what devices do they use, what household purchases they make, what type of cars they drive. You're going to learn everything about these people in Facebook for free, which is great. So Audience Insights is going to dump a lot of data on you. It's going to give you a lot of information. It's going to be overwhelming. What you need to do with this data now is continue to refine. So you need to then take the top likes that you get, page likes and interests that you get. Sorry about that, got the radar detector on. And now you need to put that into audience insights, into the search field. So you continue to add more and more layers to your search. And you're going to keep getting better and better interests, better and better data on that core demo, right? And what's great about this is now you can take all this exact info and plug it right into Ad Manager and build out your audience. Sorry, that person doesn't get a hint, right? So I hang up on you twice. Why do you keep calling back? So that's really where you need to start, is at a high level, going into audience insights, using research tools available, and printing out, writing down that list of page likes, demographic data, behavioral data, and now you have a foundation. Now you have a starting point. What's important here is to not make assumptions early on. I see a lot of people do this. Too early on, they make an assumption of who my perfect customer is. And I can tell you with Startup Drugs and other stores, I've made this assumption out of the gate of, I know my perfect customer, and I've been wrong. Maybe not by a lot, but by enough that it makes a big difference when I do paid media. So for Startup Drugs, for example, I assumed my best customer was 18 to 25 men. That's kind of the age range that I assumed. In reality, my best customer is over 35. And I have a lot of great customers in terms of cost per purchase in my ad sets over 55. So that's stuff that I never would have done. I would have never targeted those people if I just gone with my gut. So let's see how many times this guy can call and interrupt a call. So I probably need to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, right? That would be the smart thing to do, but you always assume people aren't going to call you. So that's the initial starting point. And again, kind of coming back now, I need to share my thoughts. So assumptions, right? And so when you build out your first audiences on Facebook, I like to start broad and I like to test a lot. And I'm testing a lot even now, 2 years into Startup Drugs or any other stores or brands that I run. I never stop testing. But I see a lot of people out of the gate, they'll pick one or two interests and they'll then break those up into demographic breakdowns. So they'll do men, women, all the age groups, and they're really only testing one or two interests. And that's a problem because you're starting off at such a refined point when in reality you need to start at a much bigger top level. And the reason you do that is you need to gather data. Again, going back to those assumptions. Making assumptions is super dangerous early on with Facebook ads. It's super dangerous with any type of online business. And so we'll start out with 15, 20, 25 different audiences. And hey, you only need to spend $5 a day on them. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars a day on these initial test audiences. So again, we'll start $500, $750 a day, testing 15, 20 different audiences. Each one of these audiences might only have one interest in it. It might have one behavior, one demographic criteria in it, because we don't want to put too much stuff in an audience out of the gate. Again, the problem becomes deciphering which of those targeting options is actually driving the results. So if you start out your very first ad set with 7 interests and a behavioral audience and some demographic data, and that audience kills it, you don't necessarily know which of those interests was most responsible for that return, which demographic in that is most responsible for that. And again, if it fails, you on the other side don't know which is responsible for the failure. And even more dangerous is some of those interests might have been winners, but you lumped them all together and now you assume everything in there is a loser. And so we like to start broad. We like to start maybe 1 or 2 interests per ad set because we can understand which works, which doesn't work at an individual granular level instead of a lump sum level. So we'll test, when you go to Facebook audiences, you have interests, behaviors, and demographics, 3 big criteria when you're starting out that you can target by. We like to focus a lot on the behavior and demographic side. Interest is what people say they like. Behaviors is what they actually do, what they buy, what the data that they're collecting from Nielsen, Gartner, all the research firms from Facebook are actually saying these people do. These people buy over-the-counter medication. These people make investments. These people have 7 credit cards. That's all stuff they do. And that's a lot more relevant and accurate than what they might have been interested in 5 years ago on Facebook. So we focus a lot on the behavior side of things. We focus a lot on the demographic side of things. And that's really the strongest targeting options that we find when we're starting out. So we'll then run these test ads up until we get our 8,000 impressions per ad set. And then what we do is we look at which perform best. We have a set CPA we're looking for, especially early on testing. It doesn't need perfect, but we need to see traction, and we need to see that there's a path to profitability here. Based on that now, we have, let's say we ran 25 different audiences, and 5 of them are winners. We now look at the interest, behaviors, demographics from those 5, and we might combine them. We might overlap them to make a more refined audience, and then we work on scaling that. So that's really where we start with any of our targeting. Again, we don't make assumptions. We do our research with audience insights. We test broad, and we test lots of audiences. Then we refine, then we scale. So that's kind of the, in a few minutes, the way to go with getting started with targeting on Facebook. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I gotta run, and I'll chat to you guys later. Bye.